Hello, welcome everyone. We're back for another chat, Saturday morning chat. We've got AJ. How you doing, AJ?
I haven't frozen. I was trying to make it look frozen. I'm good. I was trying to see how still I could stay, but there was a bit of movement, I think. Gave it away. Yeah, I'm good. I'm okay.
Cool. And Chris from Cypher Sigma, Screen Time and Toys. How you doing, Chris?
Yeah, I'm all good. All good for a Saturday.
Yeah. Had to get up early. Well, fairly early on a Saturday for me, but yeah. So yeah, like I say, no specific subject today. It's just a chat about what we've been watching. Couple of little bits I could sort of mention. So
just give me 1 sec. I just got to take. I'm really hot. I've got to take this jumper off. It's actually quite warm.
No worries.
Yeah, you pay for that.
So yeah, what have you been watching this week, Chris?
So I watched obviously what came yesterday, The Usual Suspects. So I watched that last night. I know you've not seen it. It was a great rewatch. Obviously, it's a very good twist. Once you know the twist, it's very interesting, but I still think very well done.
Is that a 4K transfer?
Yeah, 4K. So just out from that was from Rare Waves. I think they announced it just before Christmas.
Arrow Video.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, really nice. I think it wasn't that expensive in a collector's edition. I think £25, and you got all the tat in it. So a little booklet, some cards and stuff. So it's 25 isn't too bad a price.
Arrow are pretty good because they usually include a booklet which tells you a bit about the production, and about the actors and this kind of thing. A bit about the film, and then you get a wealth of extras, don't you? On the Arrow box sets. I'm sure there's a lot of documentaries on there that you'll be able to go through at some point. Just finding the time, isn't it, with a lot of these things?
Definitely.
I hate this tracking camera. This camera on this iPad, just like it moves around, so it tracks you. So when I just sat down, it was tracking. It came down because it's tracking the face on the bloody t-shirt.
Yeah.
Was that planned? He's back. Terminator t-shirt. Because you went off and you come back.
It wasn't planned. No.
Okay.
I was looking for my Aliens t-shirt that I got. Well, the grandchildren got me Aliens t-shirt for Christmas, but it's amongst all my other t-shirts now. I don't know where it is. There we go.
I got an Alien t-shirt for the first Alien film. Yeah, that was good. That's a nice t-shirt. So you watched Usual Suspects. What else have you been to the cinema this week?
Yes. So I suppose if we count, I went to see A Real Pain on Sunday. So that review comes out today. That's the Jesse Eisenberg movie.
Okay, yeah.
So two cousins go around Poland on a tour. It's a not. I don't think it's a lot of people's taste. It's Kieran Culkin got the Oscar or Golden Globe for Best Supporting Acting for it. So, and then I saw Mufasa on Thursday.
What did you think of that?
I liked it. I liked it better than the first one. There are a few elements I didn't like and stuff of it. The chopping. I thought it kind of should have started off with here's Simba, here's his family. Let's go about Mufasa, but. I'm not the biggest fan of the new Pumbaa and Timon, and it was a bit annoying. Keep cutting back and forth.
Yeah, because I've seen it. Yeah. It's framed by. It's a prequel, but it's framed by them bits that come after. So I enjoyed it. I didn't mind it actually.
Yeah,
I didn't mind the film. I thought some of the visual effects looked worse than the first one, but then there are other elements like they spent more time on it. Rafiki looked great.
Yeah.
The baboony thing. And I didn't mind it. It was all right.
Yeah. No, I say the world looked beautiful, and that I say there was a few loopholes that magically weren't spotted, but I pull them apart.
Like what? What?
Well, the probably biggest one and ruining my thing. So throughout the film, you notice that Mufasa has kind of super sense, the super hearing.
Oh, yeah.
Sarabi, his potential love interest, he goes, I can notice these flowers from where the valley that you are. That she hasn't been for a day or something. And then very near the end, when somebody turns traitor,
oh yeah,
no point does he go, you smell like the bad guy. I was he would have spotted that a mile away, but that's me picking it apart. So
no, yeah. But no, I enjoyed it. You're right. Yeah.
What's the update on your cinema? Is that due to close soon?
It closes tomorrow night at, I think, about 10, 11 o'clock. So I have the unknown, what's it called? The Tim Chalamet, Bob Dylan biography type movie. I've got that booked in for 6:30 tomorrow night. So that'll be the last one I see before it closes.
Okay. And then when does the Odeon take over?
We don't know. So that's there's no time frame, I suppose. Once Cineworld goes, they'll be like come in probably summer or something. I reckon summer would be a good time because obviously with a lot of movies coming out this year, for them to make a lot of money straight off the bat with Superman and stuff like this, if they reopen around that time, it would entice a lot of people in. Yeah.
Are you going to be holding a candlelit vigil tomorrow night?
No, well, I did say it has like if you on the top of the building there's a star, and my wife and I keep joking that maybe I should go and ask, can I take like the Cineworld star to the top of the building and take it home and stuff like this, or take something as a memento. But it is what it is. It's sad for Cineworld. But
I'm sure you'd be able to get some floor popcorn.
Yeah. Who knows? Freak of the mix. But I say with the situation with Cineworld that are still in, and obviously my cinema isn't going to be the last one I think that closes, and Odeon, I think it's probably maybe the best thing that obviously Odeon take its place. I mean, it has had a few issues, but hopefully it does well and it's there for another 5-10 years, and that suits me. So
you know that the Odeon are definitely stepping in.
Yeah, Odeon was announced a week after Cineworld. Essentially, what I think happens is that Cineworld are going through a restructure, and then obviously everyone leases their properties for amount of time, and it just happened to be that Northampton's was up.
Yeah.
Cineworld obviously went, well, we can't pay you this amount, but we can pay you this amount over amount of time. And then Odeon probably had a little sneak and go, we'll give you like 5% more. And the landlord's obviously interested in money. So he was like, yeah, take it. Odeon have got a site probably quite a lot cheaper for a few years. And that's how it happens. And it just,
So what about because you got a Cine Pass, haven't you?
Yeah.
And what happens to that? Because
well, we should have been contacted, but I haven't been. So what happens is my friend queried it and got hers cancelled straight away. So I'm waiting until Monday. And then I will basically say that they take a payment on the 4th of each month. So I will just say Monday it's closed.
So it's
taken a month's payment.
Yeah, it's a monthly payment thing, not a yearly. You ain't paid yearly.
Yeah.
Like advance.
So, yeah.
You're paying monthly. All right, fair enough. And does Odeon offer similar? Do they have their own?
Odeon offer a monthly. I think it was $16.99 for the bottom tier, and then like £21. Supposedly $16.99 is going up, but my wife has a blue light card, and if you pay for a year with a blue light card, it works out at £13 a month. So it costs me £2 more.
Okay.
And then on top of that, obviously I have Vitality, which you get a free Odeon ticket once a month. And then if you have Amazon Prime, which I didn't know this, you can get 2 standard tickets for £10, so £5 each, or 2 reclining seats for £15 together. So you just go on Amazon Prime and type Odeon, and then you get a voucher and take it to it, and you get cheaper tickets. So So it actually works. It's going to work out a lot better because I can take friends and family and stuff for next to nothing. So
that's good. Good stuff.
So will you be chatting to the sort of the staff tomorrow and sort of saying, "No, you're going to be keeping your job at Odeon"?
As far as I'm aware, the Cineworld's policy was they will restructure the staff to other sites, or that's it. I don't, because from what I can see, Odeon have a kind of luxury kind of idea of how their site should look and stuff. So I'm assuming that they will want to bring their own staff in and not pass staff over. I don't think that's necessarily right. I feel like, just there's a lot of staff members who are really good that should be taken over, but I don't run the company. So
where's the next closest Cineworld to you?
Milton Keynes or Rushden Lakes. So about 40 to 50 minutes if there was no traffic.
That's what I'm saying. The guys, so it's all right them saying to these people, well, we'll move you to this site, we'll offer you this site or this site. A lot of those people already working there are just going to go out and find other jobs.
Yeah. I suspect so.
Because this one's probably on their doorstep. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So where are you going to go in the interim then between obviously?
Yeah, so there is so I work in, or my base of operations, so to speak, is in Daventry. So a 20-minute drive from my house, there's a little cinema called the Arc that's in Daventry. So I will go there. It's that unless I get a deal days, it's going to probably be about £8 to £10 a ticket. So I'm probably going to be spending like 40-50 quid a month in between, but it is what it is. It's the best option for me at the minute, so that's what I'll do.
Failing that, Pirate Bay.
Well, I'm gonna try my best not to. I want to see what this cinema's like, because obviously the thing is with Odeon, I mean, they could turn around and go, we're not opening until 6 months time or something. And obviously with Captain America, Thunderbolt, Superman, there's a lot of good movies coming out that I want to see. So
I suspect, though, that Odeon would want to open as quick as. If they're starting to pay the rent now, taking over, you'd think that they'd want to get in and, given the time of year as well, catch the summer. I mean, I know it's not really a summer season now. I know it starts really early. You know what I mean? It's not like it used to be, but you've still got those big summer blockbuster films to draw people in. And I think they'd probably want to get in and open as soon as possible. So they might start work no time.
I hope so. I mean, the closest Odeon to us from here is Kettering, and that one's closing. So I don't know if there is like plans to take all the guts from Kettering and because obviously all the seats will have to be changed and all this stuff and the look. And obviously currently there's a Starbucks cafe that also closing there. I don't know what happens to that. So I don't know if they're just going to gut everything and redo everything or change.
Imagine so, yeah.
Yeah. And obviously that can take a lot of time. So there are a few bits that are a little bit dated. The screens and stuff do need change and stuff. So I welcome the change and that. But yeah, it's just time. You know what British builders are like. If it was Chinese, we'd have it done by like next week.
Yeah.
But not to slag all British builders are like that. Sorry.
Well, no, it's that they're held up by, it's all the red tape they're held up by. That's what slows it all down. Do you know what I mean? All the health and safety and nonsense and like that, and that's what slows it over here more than anything.
Yeah. Cool. Right. Let's just bring up a few comments, people saying hello, and then we'll move on to AJ and see what he's been watching this week. We've got Scott. Hi, mate. Morning. Thanks for joining. And we've got John Robinson. He's on last week on your channel, wasn't he? Commenting a few times. Oh, yeah. Welcome. We've got Real and Retro. Thanks for joining me.
Yep, all good. Thanks. Roger.
And we've got Roger. Hi, Roger. Thanks for joining me. Nice to see you. Oh yeah, we've got a few people in the watching. So yeah, welcome. This Saturday morning on a January dull morning, but yeah, hopefully we'll keep you entertained for a couple of hours. Okay, so AJ, what have you been watching this week?
Do you know what? I've been in like a right funny place because I watched at the weekend. I watched Saturday I watched Saving Private Ryan, right? Which will probably lead to a watch of Band of Brothers. That's generally what happens there. I have to watch Band of Brothers after Saving Private Ryan. I have to give that a revisit. So that might be somewhere in the future. So I watched that, right? And I don't know. For some reason, I felt I've been in a really emotional place, right? So I was like crying at the end of flipping Saving Private Ryan. I've seen it loads of times, and I was like in tears at the end of it. Saying that Band of Brothers does the same to me, it upsets me greatly. It's such an emotional ride. And then the next day I watched Forrest Gump. I kept with that Tom Hanks thing. And lo and behold, I was bloody in tears again at the end of that. For whatever reason. Right?
Yeah, that gets me, that film.
Right. And I don't know why. Because obviously, I suffer with this mental health crap and all that nonsense. But then I was at work the next day. And in the morning and work, I was like, for some reason, I was like upset again. So I was in this really vulnerable sort of headspace where things were just upsetting me for no reason whatsoever. I'm man enough to say that. Do you know what I mean? I don't care. But then, in the week, I carried on with my Elementary because I'm watching Elementary. I've completed season 2 now. I started watching Farscape, but I don't know if I want to do Farscape or not. I'm not sure. Because I said to the wife, look, it's all right me watching or us, because she watches Elementary. I goes, but I don't want to go straight into season 3. I want to break it with a season of something else and then go back. So I want to alternate seasons of stuff. So I've got a bit of a break between, so it doesn't become such a slog. She said Supernatural. Generally with Supernatural, I know recently, like last year or the year before, we watched seasons 1 to 5. And I've got all 15 seasons of Supernatural. But season 5 is like the sort of logical conclusion point to Supernatural. That's where this show should have really ended rather than go on another 10 years. Because it's, heaven and hell, angels, demons, kind of a thing that wraps it all up. And then obviously the other thing, Matt, after we were talking about Congo, because we were having a discussion that morning about those releases, those 4K releases stateside. Was talking about Congo that night. I pulled out Congo and I thought I'd put that on because I haven't watched it in so long. And you know what? I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I thought, last time I watched that film was probably bloody hell 15 years ago or something, And I'm trying to revisit some of these older, because like I said, like I discussed last week, I've got all these films behind me and so many I haven't watched. Just bought. Not that I haven't seen them. I have seen them prior to that, but I've not watched them since I've had them on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying watching some of these older films like Congo. I know back in the day, Congo was a bit of a, it wasn't received very well. But when you compare it to a lot of films today, it just feels far superior.
Yeah.
It does. I appreciate the effects because it was, it wasn't CGI on the apes. It was these costumes and that. And you can tell it's a costume and it's animatronic face and all that sort of stuff. But it looks great. It really does look great. But I'll say the same for Farscape. Watching Farscape, some of the visual effects are old. Look a bit old, a bit outdated. But then when you've got the puppets just, they're the same as what they were 20 years ago, and they still look good. There's such an appreciation for that sort of work stuff, rather than if they'd CG'd them, they'd look awful now, Yeah, so that's what I've been watching, that sort of stuff. And obviously I finished up with Skeleton Crew. I watched the final episode of Star Wars Skeleton Crew. Which just leaves it open-ended completely. It finishes the story, but not the characters. The characters are still, where are these characters gone? Where's this character gone? What's happened to that character? So there'll be a season 2 of that, I think. Is it Star Wars? Not really. Was it okay? It was okay, but it's not Star Wars.
No.
It's
made for kids, isn't it?
It is. It's funny because it's about this planet, this planet that these kids come from, and the planet, they've got no idea about what's going on outside of this planet, and the planet's hidden inside this big sort of maelstrom kind of a thing, a big that ships can't get through. So the planet's protected and hidden, and it has been for years and years and years. So it's away from everything that goes on in the galaxy. And the interesting part of that is that I did wonder whether there was an element of, in their initial thoughts, whether they were going to make it Earth, because there was something that was done in I think it was in the comics years and years ago, that Earth is a part of the Star Wars universe. This is out of canon to the films, obviously. Earth is a part of the Star Wars universe, but it's hidden somewhere. It's put somewhere. You know what I mean? It was hidden. It was kept safe, whatever. So this program here, kind of, a few tweaks, and you're saying that these people were from Earth, kind of a thing. And I'm wondering if that's was a lot of the early thought process behind it, which I wouldn't have liked. Obviously, I wouldn't have liked. I don't like how it is really anyway. It's very Earth based. It's very sort of like suburban. This is like Star Wars suburban town. But yeah, so and that's it. That's what I've been watching there.
Cool. Couple of comments. So, Real and Retro says, how much would you say the average cost of a trip to the cinema will cost now? Ticket, food, and drink. Probably about, I don't know, depends which one you're going to, but certainly where I go, I would say the average cost is probably, with food and drink, probably about 20 quid per person.
Yeah, View. I think View Cinema's the, cinema ticket. I've got two Views that I go to. One's $8.99, $6.99. You got $8.99's in Purley Way, $6.99's in the centre of Croydon. It's cheaper because you risk your life more going there. And with the food and drink, I would have said with popcorn and a Coke, I was going to say, about 20, 25 quid.
Yeah. What about you, Chris?
So I'm going to be obviously the stickler. So I have a membership card, so it's a little bit different from me. And I know Cineworld have offers. So they did have, I think it was like 10. So for what Real and Retro have asked here, it would have been £10 on a Sunday for a ticket, popcorn and drink, which is fair enough. I believe in the guidelines for Cineworld, you can actually bring food and drink in, because I've done it. No one checks your bags or anything. So technically, you just have to pay for the ticket, which then you're looking about £7 to £10, depending on what end of it. So it all depends with how you want to plan your visit and what you want to bring or what you want to buy when you were there. And obviously, they have family tickets and stuff. So I would say Cineworld is probably a bit of a cheaper option, depending which bracket you're in, because my Cineworld was the lowest one. So Milton Keynes, which is one of the closest, is like almost double the amount of money. So,
yeah. I mean, I do the same. I don't. When I go View, I don't buy a drink or popcorn. I'll just go buy. They I say there used to be down in Lewisham in the shopping centre. There used to be a stall, candy floss, nuts, sweets, and they had their own popcorn machine, and you could buy a huge bag of popcorn, right, for about £3, right, massive bag. And what I used to do is I'd go down there, buy one of them, and just pour it into smaller bags and go in with that. That ain't there anymore, unfortunately, and obviously I live further away from there now anyway. But when my missus was last down there, I said to her, go grab me a bag of popcorn. She said, they ain't there anymore. So Iceland do a tub, quite a large tub of popcorn, and I just buy that, and then again decant some into a bag, and a can of Pepsi or whatever, and away I go. That's how I go cinema. I don't pay for the prices, whether that's however you view that. Yes, do you know what I mean? Because obviously I know that's where the cinemas make the majority of their money. But then, you got to think about your pocket at the same time. And why am I going to pay through the nose prices for some watered down Coke and some popcorn when I can bring it and have it far cheaper from elsewhere?
Yeah. I mean, the cinema showcase that's near me, on a Monday, they do a special deal. You have to have an insider card, but it's a £5. on a Monday, and I can grab a bag of popcorn from Tesco's for sort of just over £1. I think it used to be £1. It's about £1.20 now. So yeah, fine. Don't tend to have a drink in the cinema because you usually find halfway through the film you're having to nip out to the toilet. So I try not to have a drink in the cinema.
Only if you've got a weak bladder.
Yeah.
And depending on the film's length, obviously.
Yes.
But no, I will go in with a drink, but I tend to open it a bit later into the film rather than straight away. For that reason.
Yeah. And that's actually you saying about the film length. That's something, I thought we could have a little bit of a chat about, which leads me on to what I've been watching this week. And we'll go backwards through the week. So we'll start with what I watched, attempted to watch last night. Me and the missus put on Long Legs, which is the sort of Nicolas Cage horror film. I fell asleep. I don't know. It just wasn't for me at all. I fell asleep, woke up, fell asleep. And every time I tried to get into it, I just thought, this isn't for me. It's just a very strange film. My wife did watch it all. And I asked her this morning, what did you think of it? And she said she didn't really think it was that great. Kind of told me about the premise of the film, but it sounded, I don't know. It seems like Nicolas Cage was involved in producing the film as well. So whether it was sort of his project, I don't know, but wasn't for me. I'm sure it will appeal to a lot of horror fans out there. But no, didn't really enjoy it. Well, what I saw, I just found it quite boring, to be honest. Have you seen that, Chris? Long Legs?
Yeah, I went to the cinema and see it. So I enjoyed it. It's one you have to pay attention because the story makes sense once you get to the end in the grand scheme of things. So you're right, it is kind of more horror-based film.
Very slow, I found that.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage doesn't look like Nicolas Cage in it, but he sounds like Nicolas Cage in my eyes. When I see him, I'm like, is that Nicolas Cage? And then you hear his voice and like, no, that's definitely Nicolas Cage. But yeah, it's not your usual standard movie for, as I say, horror fans probably love it. But I thought it was all right. I like the twist, but not one I'm going to rush out to add to the collection anytime soon.
What about you, AJ? Have you seen it?
I attempted it twice and switched off on both occasions. I put it in the first time, started watching it, and thought, I'm not. And I gave it the benefit of the doubt in case it was just the mood I was in. Just wasn't in the right frame of mind for it. And then I tried it again a few days later, and I switched it off again. I thought, I'm not even gonna attempt to sit through this thing.
Yeah, no, just wasn't for me.
I've got no qualms about switching off films that I'm not into. I won't through something just for the sake of it.
No, absolutely. And then a couple of days ago, I watched the film Sliver, which I haven't seen for some time, probably back in when it first came out in the 1990s. And I was kind of intrigued. I've since purchased there's a Vinegar Syndrome edition that's come out on 4K with a nice slip case, etc.
For a second, I was like, what? Because I thought you said Slither rather than
Sliver.
Yeah. I thought you said thinking, Nathan Fillion, James Gunn.
Sharon Stone and Adam Baldwin. Yeah. Very much. For those of you that haven't seen it, it's very much in the ilk of Basic Instinct. It was at that time where she was sort of riding the success of Basic Instinct, and this is another sort of erotic thriller, which, I quite like that genre. I've got Basic Instinct, which I think that's that classic film. Still yet to see the 4K of that. I do have it on DVD as well. But yeah, that's one that I do want to watch this year in 4K. They've got that collector's edition, which has been sat on the shelf. Again, like you've said, we buy all these editions, but then we never get round to watching them. So certainly for me, and no doubt yourself as well, is very much let's get watching these films this year. Let's just turn the focus away from sort of just constantly buying new things and actually enjoy what you've got in the collection. I've also got Fatal Attraction as well, which Paramount did a special edition of that one. I did watch that on 4K. Wasn't overly impressed with the transfer on that one. I didn't think it was that much better than the Blu-ray, because I think the release does have a Blu-ray in it as well, and I compared the two.
Yeah, I've got the Fatal Attraction. I have the HMV edition, the with the silver on the spine.
Oh, the premium one, yeah.
That collection. I have Fatal Attraction as that, so I didn't upgrade that when it came out.
To be honest, I didn't really notice that much difference in the picture quality between the 4K and maybe the HDR helps a bit, but no, I'd stick with the Blu-ray. One I would like to see get an upgrade is Disclosure. I like that film as well. Obviously, that's Michael Douglas and Demi Moore. That's quite a good one. I believe the Blu-ray's out of print, I think, on that one.
I've got the Blu-ray.
Yeah, I think it might be out of print now.
And Striptease as well, I've got on Blu-ray. I say that just because whenever I think Disclosure and Striptease for me are like, they sort of come hand in hand, because I believe they came out around the same time, probably 95, 96. Might have been earlier than that. I can't remember now. I remember having, because at that point I would have, I'd go up London. Right, this was the great thing about London back then, right? And the shops up London is you actually had a shop that was just in Soho area that was just dedicated to film posters and stills, like photos from films, and it would be part of our, you know what I mean? Me and my mate, when we go up weekly to the comic shops, it'd be part of our rounds. So I used to have a conveyor belt of posters on the wall for films that were coming out, and Disclosure poster, Striptease poster, I had some great posters back then. Army of Darkness was a good one, really nice poster. The poster for Escape from LA, great poster. Do you know what I mean? I nearly watched that this week, by the way. I nearly did pick, and I think that's close to having another rewatch, Escape from LA, because I don't care. I love the film. I think it's a great film. I have so much fun with.
Again, that's another one that I bought on 4K and have yet to watch.
Yeah, I have watched it. Yeah, I did watch that.
All right, yeah. There's a lot in the collection I need to start watching.
Because I think that era, it's not just so much the films itself, but it's the memories that they hold from going to see them and this sort of a thing back then. That era of everything, I've got a lot of nostalgia for. The cinema trips, the comics from that era. So a lot of those films that people even slate, for me, I know that Escape from LA isn't as good as Escape from New York, but I prefer the more older, grizzled Snake Plissken from LA than how he is in New York. Do you know what I mean? I prefer the character in that film than how he is in the first film. Right. But yeah.
So I watched Sliver and I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. I actually, I thought, I definitely want to get it on 4K now. So, and add it to the collection. So I feel it fits with those other films. If I'd have blind bought it, not blind bought it, but because it's such a long time ago, I couldn't remember. I was chatting to you about it, and you kind of said, "Well, have you watched the film recently?" And are you buying it just for the packaging? Shiny packaging and all the rest of it. I decided to watch it and thought, actually, this is definitely worth the upgrade.
No, I think that's a good call. Do you know what I mean? Watch it first. If you're able to watch it before you buy it, watch it again, and then ask yourself: is that something that I'm not going to feel buyer's remorse about after the purchase? Because it's been such a long time since you've seen it that you could have watched it and thought, all right,
no, this is
yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's that's a good. I mean, I wouldn't fault you getting Congo. I won't upgrade it myself just because of where I am collecting now.
Yeah.
And also, I've just watched the film. When's my next watch of it going to be? If I buy the 4K version, it's probably just going to go on the shelf. And 5 years' time, 10 years' time, I might decide to pull it out and watch it again.
And again, last year I bought Congo on DVD because, again, I don't know whether there was a Blu-ray in the UK. There's certainly Blu-rays, because you've got one. Is that a US release?
My Blu-ray, yes, it is.
Yeah. I don't think there may be a German release. I don't know, but if there was a Blu-ray of Congo in the UK, it's certainly out of print now.
Yeah, I don't quote me on this, but I don't think it got a UK release, which is why I went for an import.
Okay. But I watched the video. The guy, he was comparing again. He's only the DVD version of the film, and he was doing screenshot comparisons, and he said it's a huge leap from the DVD to the 4K. It's a good. It's not perfect. It's an older film. It's not perfect, and even Vinegar Syndrome at the start, before the film starts, they say that there's still, apparently there was one section of the film that got damaged, and you can see some slight sort of marks on the actual, in certain scenes. So they're putting a disclaimer up at the start saying, we've done the best to try and restore it as best we could, but there are some blemishes on this in certain scenes. But from the screenshots that I saw, I thought, again, I thought, well, I did enjoy the film last year when I watched it, and I feel I can justify the upgrade because it's going to be a better picture quality, and it's got some nice shiny packaging.
No.
I'm a bit of a sucker for, I must admit.
If I didn't have it on Blu-ray, then the 4K would tempt me. Yeah,
I know you said the art, and some of the artwork is questionable on it. I think there's a nice book. There's a nice booklet in it as well, again, which is always nice to read about the production and that. And the artwork that they use on that, and I agreed with the guy who was doing the comparison between the DVD and the 4K. There's some artwork where you just see sort of an ape's face. I think it's like a half sort of, and that would have looked great on the cover. I think the cover's not too bad, but the inside slips a little bit. I don't know, a bit. Yeah, they could have gone with a better design, I think. But overall, it's a nice package. So I'm happy. And the previous film I watched last Sunday, and again, this was one I wanted to get round to, and it links in with the video that went up this week, which was my Quentin Tarantino collection. I watched Django Unchained for the first time. And again, it was very much typical Tarantino affair. I think it was a kind of love letter to the spaghetti westerns. However, I did feel it was a bit overly long. I think it came in at about 160 minutes or something like that. I think maybe on a rewatch at some point it might grow on me, because that's happened with other Tarantino films. On my first watch, I don't know, something about Tarantino films, they tend to grow on you, from my perspective anyway. But I want to sort of talk about, we'll go to the comments first, and then what are your thoughts on the length of films? So let's just bring up a few comments. So Real and Retro, he says, I've just finished Yellowstone and 1883. If you've not seen them, give them a go.
What about, have you not watched 19? Is it 1912? Is that the other one?
Not seen any of them.
No, I've not seen them.
Yellowstone.
I know you have.
Is the Kevin Costner TV show. There's a spin-off. There's 2 spin-offs set around the same ranch. One I think stars Sam Elliott, which is the 1883 one. And if I'm wrong, let me know. And then I think you got 1912. That's the Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford's in that show. Yeah, but no, I haven't. I haven't seen them. 1923 says Kermit. All right, 1923. I knew it was something. I actually have 1883 and 1923. I did pick them up on physical media to watch because even though I haven't seen Yellowstone, I fancied the idea of the others being set historically in the past. Obviously, I don't think I really need to see Yellowstone to watch the others, considering that they come prior to. And they're going to be their standalone project, so to speak, because the amount of time. It's just about the ranch and that sort of a thing. But I never got round to watching either.
No, nothing that I've delved into any of them myself.
I think what puts me off of getting into Yellowstone now is that it's however many seasons in, so it's the commitment of getting into a TV show that's now that big. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a lot of time, isn't it?
But what my thinking was to do 1883, 1923, and then jump into Yellowstone after the fact. Whether that will come, whether that will happen, it may do, it may not.
Yeah. So we've got Alan. Thanks for joining. He says, "Hi guys, hope you're all keeping well." Yes, thank you. I collect Blu-rays and never delved into 4K. Can you guys see much difference between 4K and Blu-ray?
Yeah. Let me just check my bank account because I certainly can.
Yeah.
Do you want me, who wants to go first? Chris, do you want to say anything? Chris, you ain't spoke for a bit. We've been.
Yeah. That's all right. I didn't know some of the movies that you and Matt were talking about, so I just kept.
No, fair enough. No, because you're still very much DVD related. You're into Blu-ray and your 4K as well, so you've probably got a fresher perspective on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about the quality. I think as you've seen quite a few conversations that I've had with the 2 guys above me and stuff like this. I'm always kind of interested in 4K. I've got some 4K, but my tastes are more to like CG stuff and that 4K should enhance. I mean, the 4K of The Crow I think is actually really, really amazing. It actually brings a lot of stuff out. But then movies, like AJ said, with aliens and stuff like this, it can hinder. So I'm very particular at this point. I kind of, let's say, the more CG heavy stuff and the like How to Train Your Dragon and stuff like this probably work a lot better with 4K. That's what I kind of tend to head towards, or like Pacific Rim. Those movies are whereas standard movies where I think something like it's Weird Science or something that did that for 4K I think recently.
Yeah.
It's probably not. I'm gonna like how much more difference can you make a 80s film that doesn't have much practical or special effects in, so to speak?
Well, actually, Weird Science, the 4K is hideous. There's a few Arrow titles that came out around that era, that time, that were pretty crap, and I would say stick with a Blu-ray. It's far better. For me, interestingly, you asked the question because tonight I've actually got a video up at 8 o'clock tonight, not plugging it, but about whether me going
plug away.
About whether me stepping into 4K was a mistake. Did I make a mistake start collecting 4K? Because whilst there's certain projects that you would say, wow, this really is, something like The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing looks astounding in 4K. Jaws, it's clean as anything, but then there's nothing wrong with the Blu-ray.
No,
there's nothing wrong with it. The picture quality difference between DVD to Blu-ray was quite a big jump. but then the jump from Blu-ray to 4K in 99% of cases is pretty minimal, to be honest. Yeah, you got deeper blacks, you got deeper, it might be a bit more colourful and a bit clearer, but then it again, like Chris said, it depends on the film really, because Aliens, and I will cite Aliens because I know that the James Cameron one's garnered a lot of discussion, and Aliens on 4K looked beautiful. It really did look beautiful, right? My opinion, obviously, but it's too clean. It's too clean, and you can see everything. You can see, the details and everything. It's great. So Aliens is a film that I rewatch regularly, the Alien franchise, or majority, some of them. But if someone said to me, "Oh, I want to watch Aliens, can you lend it to me?" I wouldn't give them the 4K. I would give them the Blu-ray, because it's grittier and it shrouds a lot of the stuff in darkness, in the shadows, which makes you question. It adds to that atmosphere of the film. Do you know what I'm saying? And when you get the 4K that's as crisp and clean as it is, it detracts from that atmosphere. So the 4K for that is a nice addition to the Blu-ray, in that I can watch it and I can appreciate details in the set design and this sort of thing that I haven't seen before. But as a film watching experience, it's the same with RoboCop. RoboCop is a gritty film. It's made to be gritty, to look gritty. So, and you take away from it once you've got because when I got the 4K, I was like, I don't like this. I don't like this. Too clean. It's too clean for this film. But then RoboCop 2 in 4K, I know it's a crap film, but it looked great because of the neon colouring and all this sort of thing. It really enhanced. And the blue, the RoboCop suit is more blue, and it worked better as a 4K. So if someone said to me, should I step into the realm of 4K? My answer would be no. Stay as you are, unless you're, because the problem with 4K and that is you're teased in by the packaging, by the steel books that the 4K gets, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that, I admire, like I said last week, Kermit's Ghost Alan and the way he collects. There's something that, that's, although he picks up a lot that I wouldn't pick up, but I think that way of collecting is far more rewarding, shall we say, than being drawn in and psychologically ripped off by these companies. So it's minimal. It's minimal, but the cost is far greater. When you consider you're throwing maybe £10 on top of each purchase. That adds up.
It does. I mean, go on.
Sorry, I was just going to say, and then you got to ask yourself, how often are you going to watch these films? And at the end of the day, I'm watching the same. If I'm watching it on Blu-ray or 4K, I'm watching the same film. And in a lot of cases, differences. When I'm saying, it's more colourful, it's more, specific films, I could say yes, definite. No, I could probably do my whole 4K collection, and if I said, was it worth the upgrade, wasn't it, based upon the film and the picture quality and what I get out of it, it's only going to be a handful probably where I'd say yes. Blade Runner 2049, yes. The Thing, yes. Other things like RoboCop, no. Which, Weird Science, no. Time Bandits, which was Arrow, no. Do you know what I mean? It's like that.
Yeah.
That's my fault.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I think, again, it's all about picking and choosing your titles. And, I'm very much now sort of, if there is a film I'm interested in picking up, upgrading, check out reviews, online. There's plenty of people that will pick these films up, day one, and they will review them. And there's a lot of good channels out there that will give you comparisons. They'll give you screenshots and they'll show you comparisons. Like I say, that Congo one, he showed the 4K, he showed the Blu-ray, and he showed the DVD. There's a lot of effort going into producing these videos. People taking the time to sort of study this stuff, and some may say, yeah, it's a bit over the top, but actually it helps you know, make an informed decision. And like you say, I mean, again, Arrow very much will produce, and again, they have changed it a bit now, but what they were doing, they were producing a limited edition of a film, and they did it with RoboCop, you know, the nice edition in Blu-ray, and then 6 months later they would release exactly the same edition, but with the 4K disc in there instead. Now they have kind of, you know, with Demolition Man, they did release Blu-ray and 4K at the same time. Because obviously, you know, I think they've listened.
I think that's what they seem to be doing. That they've stepped away from that, because American Werewolf in London was another one they'd done that with, which was so cheeky, really. It's naughty, really. Do you know what I mean? It really it highlights the rip-off kind of mentality that some of these companies have, because they know that everyone will buy, you know, a cleaned up version, a cleaned up Blu-ray, a 1080p Blu-ray of a film, in all this fancy packaging, and then to release it again as a 4K with exactly the same stuff in the box, you know, that's forcing you to buy it twice. So, but now, no, it's like Deep Blue Sea. You've got the choice. The Cell, which is out in a couple of weeks now, Jennifer Lopez, The Cell. That's out in a couple of weeks. Deep Blue Sea's out, and they give you the option at the time of release. Yes, they're both options.
But again, with that, are you pre-ordering the 4K or the Blu-ray
of Deep Blue Sea?
Yeah,
I've pre-ordered the 4K.
Would it be worth just waiting just to see what the reviews are and whether there is much difference between the Blu-ray and the 4K?
No. I know what you're saying, right? But this is Amazon we're talking about, right? If I don't like the 4K, it'll go back to Amazon, and I'll replace with the Blu-ray version.
Okay.
I'll use Amazon like that. I use Amazon like that. I don't care.
Fair enough.
You know, that's exactly what I'll do. I'll just so yeah, I've gone for, you know, it's a great film. I love Deep Blue Sea. Yeah, I remember it's 1999, Deep Blue Sea. I remember going to see it at the cinema. It was up in the Warner Brothers Cinema in Leicester Square, which is now a View. Me and my mate would go all the time cinema when films came out, when we'd done comic shops and things like that. And, you know, I came out of Deep Blue Sea and I was blown away. I thought it was a fantastic film. So really fun. And Deep Blue Sea is a very rewatchable movie for me. You know, I'm still astounded by the not. I know it gets knocked for some of its visual effects, and some of the shark visual effects are not very good at all. But the shark practical effects, the fact that they made these sharks practically, and I think they utilised like stuff that they use in the engines of Harrier jump jets on the inside of these sharks, and these robotic sharks could propel themselves through the water at about 40 miles an hour.
Blimey.
You know, that's just, you know, they look great. The animatronic sharks look fantastic in that film. I don't care. You know, and that's the difference between CGI. CGI dates, practical effects don't. Do you know what I mean? They stand up to the test of time. It looks fantastic. Chris just showed DVD, the clip, the old clipper box of Deep Blue Sea. I think it's a great film. It's a great film. You know, obviously Jaws is my favourite film.
Snap a case there.
Yeah. You know, it's
Yeah, it is a good film. I do enjoy it. I will say though that there are, and again, it's very much like the DVDs of old. Some DVD transfers are absolutely terrible. One that I can, off the top of my head, is the Michael Douglas film,
I knew you
is
were
in
going to say that.
Japan.
Black Rain.
Black Rain. The DVD of that is unwatchable. It's terrible. Whereas I think the Blu-ray is a vast improvement.
That's the one.
Again.
Go on.
I'm going to say I don't think there's a 4K of that been announced yet, but
no, I tried watching because I hadn't ever seen the film. Right? And I got the DVD to watch it, and I watched like the first 10 minutes, and I thought, I can't. No, this is horrendous. This is
terrible. Yeah,
awful transfer. But I enjoyed what I was watching. I enjoyed that opening 10 minutes enough that I went on to Germany, and I think it was Germany that I pre-ordered. Not pre-ordered, that I imported it from Germany so that I could actually watch it properly. And it was a good film.
I still need to pick that up actually.
But DVD is like it's shocking.
Yeah. But there are some Blu-rays, like in the early days, that were produced that weren't great transfers.
I'm sure.
Again, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But again, that is a good, if there's a 4K then released later down the line, again, it's worth looking, do your research. Often Blu-ray.com is good to look at because it will give you the 4K, it'll give you the Blu-ray, reviews. There's user reviews on there, and look at forums or videos on YouTube. And like I say, it's all about picking and choosing. If you want to jump into 4K, don't just pick everything up because, like AJ's just said, sometimes there's not really that much of a difference, or it might actually sort of change the look of the film and you might not like it as much.
No, I think the problem is now you're in this, in the marketplace now. Although overall physical media is on a decline, there is an increase in interest and sales of 4K. And it kind of makes sense because that's driven by the collecting community, the niche collecting community that's sort of left, so to speak. And also 4K does hold a value to it, whereas Blu-ray it depreciates overnight. You can have a new release of a Blu-ray and within a few weeks it's in CEX. You can get £5 off of it. Do you know what I'm saying? But that doesn't generally happen as much with 4K. But there are films that are released on 4K, and this is the problem: is that you're getting people getting caught up with all of this, and me as well. Like Weird Science, Planes, Trains, Automobiles, which is a horrendous 4K transfer, by the way. But then, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, things like this I've picked up on 4K. But then you got to ask yourself, it's a comedy. It's a comedy film. American Pie was another one that I nearly bought the other day. I had that temptation come in. I resisted. I didn't buy it. I nearly bought the American Pie. It was 88 Films that released it, or someone like that. With the special edition with a booklet and all that sort of stuff. Steelbook booklet. I nearly bought it. I didn't, thankfully, because it's a comedy. It's a comedy film. Like Chris said, 4K benefits those big special effects films. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. This kind of you know what I mean? It doesn't benefit a comedy.
Right.
But that's where we're at. We're getting these films that are released to us that when you really ask the question, does that film warrant a 4K? Is it really needed for that movie? The answer in a lot of cases is no. No, it's not. I'm not going to laugh anymore at Weird Science because it's a 4K. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you're talking about a big special effects film, Aquaman was one of my first 4K that I got, that and Close Encounters. And Aquaman, when I watched it, I was blown away by it's because the colours when you go to the sea and all that, it becomes very colourful and it looks great. It really does. That's what I'm saying. It's that visual thing. A lot of films are not required visually. Is Sliver right, really a film that warranted a 4K. I'm not
Probably not.
it,
Although, I mean, it is, a lot of it is sort of dark scenes and stuff. So I guess, you know, you'll see a bit more detail. However, with that film, you either, certainly within the UK, you've either got the DVD or there's no Blu-ray.
No, I know. I'm not saying.
Out of print.
But I'm saying, film itself, is it a film that really warrants a 4K? Like Basic Instinct, I'd probably say no.
No, it's got a good soundtrack. There's some good music in it. So I guess, again, I've looked at the sound. It's just a 5.1 track. It's not Atmos, although my receiver will upscale it to.
I mean, I'm not knocking. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking you for getting it. I'm not saying that, right? Because if it was a film that was only Blu-ray, my only option was DVD, and now Blu-ray's 4K's available, and I've got no interim, no.
Yeah.
So then, I'd go 4K.
That's right. Yeah.
4K. But if I'm asked, does this film warrant a 4K?
Probably not. No.
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 Did Barbed Wire? I got the 4K Barbed Wire. So did you, Matt? Did Barbed Wire warrant a 4K release? The answer to me is no, it didn't.
Right? Because the Blu-ray looked really good.
The actual Blu-ray itself,
stunning.
which I'd watched recently before the release of the 4K, I've seen that's a better Blu-ray transfer than some 4Ks that I've actually seen.
Yeah.
You know, it looked like I was watching a 4K transfer.
Yeah. Nice steel book though for the turbine.
Yeah, I'm not because I got it. You know, I'm saying, but again, question it: did that need a 4K? Probably not.
No,
considering
probably not,
the film and how the film's received, and you know, this is the thing: you get these choices that are made on films that are questionable. It's like if they'd done a Catwoman, Barbed Wire ain't as bad as Catwoman, but if they'd done Catwoman as a 4K, it wouldn't make much sense.
No.
You know, when you've got these films that are screaming out for 4Ks, like Armageddon and things like that. You know, Armageddon, 4K, fantastic. It's a big special effects extravaganza of a film.
Yeah.
So, you know, benefit.
Even Con Air will look good, won't it?
Yeah,
could look good on 4K.
It benefited from a 4K. But other films, you say, does that benefit? Does Sliver benefit 4K? Does Basic Instinct really benefit of 4K? You know, I know full well that when everyone got that 4K of Basic Instinct, don't tell me the first thing wasn't to go and see how the leg crossing scene looked.
Yeah.
You could actually see more in that. Of course you could. I mean, look at the 4K, right? The Terminator 4K, right? It's so clean. It's a good transfer. But now you can actually see Arnie's penis hanging and swinging, walking across that car park towards Bill Paxton. It was always covered in shadow before, and you couldn't see it. Now it's as clear as day.
Oh, God.
You know, so don't tell me that Basic Instinct, that warrants a 4K because of the leg scene, and see what we can think more of. But there we go.
Trying there.
Yeah, that's true. That's probably
So, hi Alan, thanks for joining me. I know I popped your thing up earlier, but he's saying if you like the erotic thrillers, check out Body of Evidence. Yeah, I've heard of that. I don't think I'm not a big Madonna fan, but okay, it's worth maybe having a look at.
I've got it on Blu-ray, Body of Evidence. I think that's the one. I haven't seen it for years. Right, I haven't watched it on Blu-ray since I got it. I think that's the one with the candle wax.
Oh, now maybe I have seen that then. That does ring a bell. Yeah.
So Chris, have you got a favourite erotic thriller?
No, I don't. To be honest, it's probably one of the lower things in my collection. If you keep mentioning titles, I'm like, Fatal Attraction I've seen.
The erotic.
And hang on, you've got the trilogy of 50 Shades of Grey.
I don't know if you'd really call that erotic, really.
I don't know. There's a bit of
the Red
I
Room.
wouldn't say it's a thriller, but there's a bit of adult sort of theme to it, shall we say?
I was mentioning it to you the other day. There's a film called The Cool Surface that stars Terry Hatcher and Robert Patrick, a young Robert Patrick.
Oh, right,
Terry Hatcher's young in it as well. It had been before, obviously, Lois and Clark.
Yeah.
And she was quite hot in that. She does get a kit off. I used to have it on DVD. So it's out of print now, obviously, and it never got an upgrade. But yeah, I had that. But yeah, I don't know. Funnily enough, because the other day, or a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, I watched a film, right? And I think it said to you, and I watched it. I downloaded it, right? And it's a TV movie, so it was an erotic thriller kind of a thing in a sense, but not.
Shannon Tweed.
No, it's not Shannon Tweed. It's Dizzy from, what's her name again? Dizzy from Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
Dina Meyer, who, Matt, you would know her because you mentioned Dragonheart the other day. She was the main girl in Dragonheart.
Okay, yeah.
She's the girl in Starship Troopers that you would say, well, Casper Van Dien, whatever your name is in it. Why didn't you go for her over Denise Richards? Because she's far more attractive than Denise Richards. Denise Richards is a bit more unique looking, but Dina Meyer is far more attractive. And she played Batgirl she played Batgirl in the early 2000s TV version of Birds of Prey, which we'll see. I say she played Batgirl. She played Oracle, which is where she's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
But there were some flashbacks to her as Batgirl in the Batgirl costume, which actually looked pretty damn good. So anyway, I watched this film with her in. I cannot remember the title for the life of me. 2015, and you got this kid who's like 18 years old, and she befriends him, seduces him, much to the dismay of her mother. But she's actually a bit, cuckoo, psychotic, and it's one of those sort of films. And they weren't bad actually for a TV movie. There was obviously no nudity or anything like that in it, but it played heavy on the themes of that.
Mm.
Would I get it in 4K? No.
No.
But the only reason I watched it was because of Dina Meyer. Because I think she's been in a lot of the Saw films. She was in like the first 4 Saw films, right? Chris is looking for the title for me. Yeah, 2015, I think it was, Chris.
Clarity?
What?
Clarity?
No.
Okay. It's not Dog Walker's Christmas Tale, I can tell you that.
No, it's not.
Lethal Seduction.
That's it.
No, that sounds about right.
Got one of those silly titles. Yeah, so Dina Meyer was, and she's quite attractive woman, and she was very good in it actually. Her acting isn't, it's because obviously she's done a lot. She's had a busy career even up to today, and she actually, interestingly, and I said this as well, I didn't realise until looking for her IMDb that she actually voiced Oracle uncredited in Arrow or Flash.
Okay.
So she came back as that character, Oracle, over a radio from Birds of Prey, the TV series. So they, and voiced it uncredited for the Arrowverse.
Nice.
So there we go. It's only 5 seasons, AJ, and worth every minute. That's Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll check that out, man. Lethal Seduction.
I like Costner. I really like Costner. What's that, Matt?
I'll have to check that out, that film, Lethal Seduction.
He will now. He'll know tonight. I'm surprised that I managed to download it, to be honest. I'm surprised. I'm surprised it had active. It was torrented. I torrented it. I'm surprised it had active seeders and leechers and that sort of thing. But yeah, I found it. There we go. Anyway.
Just going back to Yellowstone. Apparently, Kermit says there's only 5 seasons of it, so worth every minute.
Yeah, Costner. I like Costner, so I don't know why I'm not. Do you know what I mean?
The Roger says, I'm very impressed with 4K, but the most important thing to me is to have the movie you like. But it does enhance DVDs and Blu-rays. Yeah, absolutely. It all depends on previous transfers, and like you say, ultimately it's whether you enjoy the film. Like you just said with Deep Blue Sea, it's pretty much a no-brainer that you're gonna get 4K.
That is what Roger's saying there. I think what he's saying is having a 4K player and 4K setup, you see an enhancement of DVD and Blu-ray through it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it'll upscale stuff.
Yeah.
It should upscale it, but like you say, depending on the transfer, certainly for Blu-ray, if it's a good, like the barbed wire Blu-ray, there's not going to be that much of a difference between that and the 4K.
Yeah.
But then some other Blu-rays look terrible, and it's a vast improvement.
You have to be careful. I think you have to be careful going into it now, simply because you have a decline of DVD in sales. You have a decline of Blu-ray in sales, but you have an uplift of 4K in sales, which kind of makes sense, right? Because the lifeline now for these companies releasing is 4K.
Yeah.
That's where they've realised that the collectors are. That's where so you see an uptick of. So you will get a wealth of films. That's why you're getting a lot of films released now on 4K.
A lot of catalogue stuff, yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, the question is does it need it? That's really what you got to ask. Rather than upgrading every single film that comes out to 4K, be selective. That's what I would say. Be selective and ask yourself honestly, when did I last watch this film? When will I watch it again? When will I watch it again after that? And is it really needed, or am I just buying it because it's there?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing because it's got stupid. It's got really stupid. Yeah, Coach, right. The sale was out Monday. Yeah, 21st. I'm behind. The dates are like, it is the 21st Monday, isn't it? I think. Yeah, so out Monday. I'm thinking like it's out blimmin'
20th.
Is it?
Yeah. That's Tuesday.
Yeah, 20th,
Yeah. So I'm still thinking it's early
Who's
January.
Who's in that? The cell?
Jennifer Lopez.
Okay.
Vince Vaughn and Vincent D'Onofrio. Kingpin.
Okay.
Younger.
And is it kind of I get from? Is it kind of a saw kind of thing?
As I recall, it's been a lot. My visit last long time. She goes into the psyche of someone or something, and it's all like the mind in their mind.
Right.
There's a lot of weird, strange visuals in the film. Like I remember a horse that's separated. That's like where you get them art exhibitions where it's like the body of a cow that's down and separated, and it's in glass. And there's stuff like that in it. I want to say it's when she goes into the mind and this sort of stuff. Thematically, it's very Hellraiser-y, maybe in my mind. I connect the two, but like I said, the visit's been a long time for the cell.
So is it a horror film then, or is it more of a thriller?
I think it'd be more of a thriller with some heroic. There would be some. There's certainly some horrific visuals that could be classed as horrific visuals in it, but it's more of a thriller type thing. Chris, looking it up. What does it say, Chris? Have you seen it? It's been such a long.
I've seen it, but like you, a long time ago. It's classed as a psychological horror and a psychological thriller. Serial killer, crime, horror, sci-fi thriller. So there's quite a few.
Yeah, just read the blurb for it. She goes into his mind or something.
Yeah, an FBI. Oh, let me bring it up. An FBI agent persuades a social worker who is adept with a new experimental technology to enter the mind of a comatose serial killer in order to learn where he's hidden his latest kidnap victim.
Yeah. So when she goes into the mind, it's very, very The visuals are out there. That's all I remember.
Quite trippy, yeah.
Yeah. When she enters the mind and that. Again, that's one that I'm surprised is getting a 4K release. Yeah, there is the horse. Yeah, it's very I don't know.
Weird looking.
Yeah, like I said, there's some very weird
stuff.
Yeah, it does remind me. I don't know why I get a Hellraiser vibe from it, but I do. But there we go.
She's the main star of it as well, is she, Lopez?
Oh yeah. I mean, Lopez. I think she's quite a decent actress. I've got no issue with her.
Yeah, doing well, really, isn't she? You know,
if she does a film, I'll watch it. You know, Marry Me. She done a romantic comedy a few years back called Marry Me with Owen Wilson. That was essentially a remake of Notting Hill. It's very Notting Hill. You know, she's a big star singer. He's just a normal bloke and gets into a relationship with her. It's that Notting Hill kind of story.
Yeah. I always sort of associate her with the sort of rom-coms, but from the sound of it, this one's very much.
She done an action called, I think it was called Mother, which was where she was a spy. And I quite enjoyed that. That was a Netflix film. Although it is one of those, I find Netflix films to be very forgettable. I watch them, I enjoy them. I think, oh, that's, I enjoyed that. Then I can't remember it. It's gone.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's me or if that's just, if that says something about these films. And then I wasn't a fan of the one where the latest sci-fi one she done where she's in the big machine.
Atlas.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, she was all right in it. I can't knock it, because I think she's quite a decent actress, to be honest. But I didn't get on with that film. I think you enjoyed it, though, Chris, didn't you?
Yeah, it was an honourable mention from last year, but the premise comes from a computer game that I'm quite a big fan of, so I like a lot of that kind of genre. The ending wasn't the greatest, but yeah, I enjoyed it. Hard to find. I've got my eyes out for a copy of it if I can get hold of one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you mean. Netflix movies are quite a lot of dime a dozen, eat, sleep, next one.
Yeah, because the latest one is Cameron Diaz, isn't there? There's this
Back in Action.
Yeah.
Jack
Box.
It's not got good reviews.
Jimmy said he watched it, didn't he? Jimmy boy.
I've got it ready to go. It came on yesterday, didn't it? I've got it ready to go. I'm going to watch it because that's Cameron Diaz back in action. So, no, I mean, Cameron Diaz, what's it been, 10 years for her or something? But being Netflix, the problem with Netflix films for me is that I feel that they're generated on a conveyor belt almost, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I could say they're probably, a lot of them might end up being AI written, right? You know what I mean? And then they're not written for anyone specific. They just get whoever name, quite a big name attached. And the films don't feel like they're made for these actors. It feels like you could put anyone into these films and it'd be the same. And they're very generic in their writing, and do you know what I mean? They're basically the new they're Netflix films, and that streaming films feel like the new straight to DVD. That's what they feel like, right?
Yeah.
Feel like straight to DVD films where they're forgettable.
Yeah.
There's something cheaper about. They have a bigger budget now, and they got more.
We watched over Christmas, and I think he did quite well for Netflix. The one where it was in the airport, and there was the guy with the bomb.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Carry On.
Yeah, I think that did very well for them, actually. It's quite popular, but again, it felt a bit of trying to be like Die Hard, I think, but.
Yeah, and then you had that's the thing, right? And you had adverts for it. Saying all the new Die Hard better than Die Hard. The new, you know what I mean? Hold on a minute. So I'm sat watching this film, right? And the beginning shot of the film is him. He's late. He's late for work, right? So he has to run across the airport. He has to run and all this. And I'm sat there. I'm watching it with a wife. I've gone. This is how lazy writing is. right? I said to her, this is clearly done to show you the everywhere where this film's going to be set. You know, give you the sort of lay of the land, so to speak. Right? It's clearly, it's almost like as lazy as sort of like, here's your character cards when films do. Bam, like Suicide Squad does. You know, bam, character card about someone. Bam, character. It's that kind of thing. It's that scene was not written naturally. It's not a natural scene in the film. It's done just to show you the geography of the future of the film. You know, the other bits of the film. It's that weren't great. That wasn't a good film. I'd never watch it again. It felt too long for what it was. You know, and also, like I said in the previous chat here, you know, the bit where the geezer comes and sits down next to him in the airport after the first sort of incident, had he just attacked him and overpowered him at that moment in time, the rest of the film wouldn't have happened because he wouldn't have been in touch with the other geezer in the van. He had sole control over the bloody thing on his little device, you know. It just wouldn't have come to. Yeah, it's just anyway.
Yeah.
It was rubbish. No, it was rubbish, is what I'm saying. It was pretty rubbish, pretty dire.
Yeah. Just a one-time watch, but there we go. Alan says I had to buy Double Jeopardy on 4K as it came with a Blu-ray as well, and you can't get it on Blu-ray alone. I do own a few 4K special editions, but only when they come with Blu-ray.
Yeah, so if that Blu-ray there is actually a Blu-ray from the transfer of the 4K, like a 1080p Blu-ray, if it's the same transfer just put onto a Blu-ray, you're not going to find much difference between sticking that Blu-ray in and sticking that 4K in, to be honest.
No, apart from the HDR.
Yeah. But yeah, that's how I begun. I started with 4K by buying, you know, I bought titles that it weren't because it weren't available, because you're seeing that more now, but it was because it was you know, I think I bought War for the Planet of the Apes prior to having a 4K player, 4K, because I wanted the steelbook, so I was buying for that reason, you know, because I like the packaging, which is the wrong reason for buying, really, but there we go. In my mind.
So yeah, let's come back to the question I asked earlier on. Are films becoming too long? I was read this morning apparently the new Avatar film that's coming out this year, at the end of they reckon it's gonna be over 3 hours long. You know, and like I say, I watched that Django Unchained the other night, and yeah, I enjoyed it to a point, but I did find it just seemed to go on and on and on. And I quite like films that are either an hour and a half or 2 hours in length. For me, that's a good sweet spot to watch a film. But you've really got to be sort of invested in something to be able to sit there for 2.5, 3.5 hours for something. Especially sitting in a cinema. So, what are your sort of thoughts on this,
Chris?
No, you're gonna let me go. So, yeah. AJ kind of touched on a little bit of this. I think I've explained this before. For me, obviously, from growing up in the '90s movies, obviously they were a dime a dozen for 90 minutes, and I think the audiences has changed, but I think kind of how they're written, and as I say, AJ touched on it. The fact there's, as you said in Carry On, I've not seen it, but there seems to be in modern day filming, you need to explain everything. Yeah. And what I say about that of using the Carry On is that you take an 80s and 90s movie, something like, I don't know, just Beverly Hills Cop. First 5 minutes, this is Axel, he's a cop, here's his mate, he gets killed. Off we go. If that movie was made today, it'd be like, well, here's Axel. He's a police, you know, sheriff. This is his family. This is what he does. This is it. This is his friend. He comes from here. He explains here. This is the drug lord that's trying to kill him, and he's dead. And then it's half an hour into the film. I don't know whether that's just as I say, the audience have changed and they need to be explained a bit more, or or it's just better writing back in the day, because I think we just took a lot of things for granted. I think like the action hero movies and stuff, it always is kind of like, this is the premise. Even something like Predator, you're in the forest, people are dead, there's something out there, let's go get them. You don't need to know much more.
No, but what you'll find though, Chris, is that a lot of the films from back then do have a slower pace of giving you. They have more of a build up. If you take a look at Die Hard as an example, all right, Die Hard takes a lot of time to set up the whole thing. All right, builds up so the tension builds and builds and builds. So that which is great, and this is one of the reasons why. And this is aside from the lengths, right? But this is one of the reasons why I always favour White House Down over
Olympus Has Fallen.
Olympus Has Fallen, because White House Down as a blueprint works more like Die Hard, in that it takes its time to set up the tension, it sets up the situation, it sets up the bad guys, and I appreciate that when it's done properly, but now a lot of it is straight into, we have to have something happen. You come in at an set piece. You can't have a slower moment. It comes in. But the writing has changed twofold, like what you're saying. I think just back then, generally, people knew how to knew how to write properly and how to build tension.
Yeah.
But then audiences have dumbed down, and cinemas or companies have gone with it, that we can't have their attention waning. So we'll show this film to a test audience. Test audience will fill out a bloody form to say, yeah, this bit I got bored during, but this bit was great. And then they say, look, I got bored during this bit. We can't have that. Let's go back for a reshoot and throw something in there.
Yeah.
To spike it up again. Do you know what I mean? And that's the sort of thing that's happening. So back when films were written, and that's why when it really does show. Like I'm saying, I go back and I watch some of these older films that weren't really received very well back then, but when you compare them to today's films, Congo as an example, they just feel smarter in the way that, but sorry, go on.
No, that's it. I say that was kind of where I was going, or my thoughts and feelings on it.
But do you like, so with longer film, I mean, so longer films, do you like longer run times or shorter run times? What's your feelings on that?
It too. I mean, if I go to the cinema, I don't really mind. The only thing I think now for me, for my rewatch, so anybody who's watched my videos and knows I have one big shelf, a bit like what behind me. That's what I watch. I pull out 7, I put them on the sides, or I have 2 parts of 7, and I kind of structure those on order. So it's like if it's a 90-minute film and but because I watch a lot of this when my wife goes to bed, obviously the longer a movie is, and the wife goes to bed at 9, half 9, you're up till like half 11. So I would prefer kind of shorter, but a bit like Matt, I think an hour and a half, 2 hours that's a reasonable time for me. If it's a great movie, then like Avatar, Lord of the Rings, I'm happy to stay for the extra hour. But
I think if it's an epic thing like Lord of the Rings, you can warrant it. But some of these films, it just seem to be getting into 2.5 hours, and it's, I don't know. It's a lot, isn't it? Sometimes to fit it in, whereas an hour and a half, 45 minutes, especially sort of in the evenings, you can watch that. And if you're going to like 3 hours, you're knackered the next day, getting up for work and this sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, my watches in the week, me and the missus have sort of said that, because we don't, we have Netflix. I say she has Netflix, right? I don't have TV license. We don't have TV license. We don't watch generic TV. We don't, you know, I ain't done that for years, right? I haven't just sat down and said, oh, let's put on. I don't have a TV on as, you know, I go into like my sister's house and they've got the TV on as background noise, right? I don't do that. TV's only on when it's being watched. So she'll go on, my missus will go on, she'll watch Netflix on there. She watches a lot of YouTube actually, and a lot of like people cooking stuff to give her ideas. And some people with like these homesteads in Canada where they're living off the land in the middle of Canada, and she watches that sort of stuff on there. But what we've sort of said is, you know, because I'll be honest, right, we're both in bed by about 8:30 at the latest in the evening. The times when we go to bed at 8 o'clock, at 7:30, there's even times when we say we're going to bed, right? Because she's up early in the morning for work. I'm up, I take her into work and I go off to work myself. So generally the evenings we say we'll stick to TV shows like Elementary, the rewatching of Elementary. Occasionally I'll throw in a film like Congo, but then my watch choice is based upon is restricted by the film's length.
Yeah.
So if it's much over, if it starts treading over 2 hours, I'll say no, I'm not going to watch it. Right, weekends are kind of safe for that thing. But I think it's based upon the film, truly. Do you know what I mean? You do watch some films and you come away thinking, you know, Carry On was one of them. This film's 20-25 minutes too long. Needs to be shortened because I'm starting to look at the clock. But then other films like 3 hours, Endgame, Avengers Endgame, right? Now, Avengers Endgame, I went cinema, I saw it twice in one day.
Wow.
Twice in one day, right? I went cinema to watch it in the morning. Came home from the cinema and there was a pirate copy available, right? Which was actually pretty damn good. You know, quite a watchable pirate. So I downloaded it and I watched it again that same day. So I've done 6 hours on the same film in the same day. And the film, you know, that film, I don't feel the runtime because there's so much, you know, that they're playing on that's come before in the 20 films prior. There's so much that you know, so many characters in the mix, you know, so it's dependent on the project really, whether the runtime warrants that length or not, you know?
Yeah.
You know, The Postman is another example, a 3-hour film, Kevin Costner, The Postman, and I've not got no issue with that. I love that movie. I'll tell you now, if a 4K of The Postman came, Warner Bros. Released a 4K of The Postman, and it was a special edition with the tat in it, I'd probably
get it.
Right, because I love the film, and it's a film that every couple of years I'll put on and revisit because I don't know why. I don't feel the length of it. I just think it's a really good film. Let's for whatever reason, audiences turned on Kevin Costner. The media turned on Kevin Costner and started attacking him, and lo and behold, you know, like we have now, everyone has this sort of this sheep mentality, which is more accustomed today, I should say, than back then. You know, like where people start criticising the film before it's even come out, before they've even seen the first thing about it. You know, and then there's this hate train for this film just because it's the popular opinion to be under. It's much like that when, you know, because let's be fair, media loves nothing more than bringing someone up and then knocking them back down.
Yeah.
What happened with Costner? You know, he was golden child for 1 minute, and then all of a sudden he's just slammed after the what happened with Waterworld, and Postman got caught up with that. So 3 hours for that. I can sit down, I can watch that film, I love it. Yeah. But like you said, Matt, I think you said about Django, you felt Django was slightly too long for you.
Yeah, it could have been half an hour shorter, definitely.
But I think it's on whether it's, you know, and I'm sure there's other people that wouldn't sit through Postman and find it a tedious watch. I think a lot of it is whether the film warrants it, whether it's a personal opinion, whether you're involved, whether you're invested. Do you know what I mean? It's all those sort of things that come into play.
I mean, obviously, Snyder's Justice League. I mean, what did that come in at? That was over 4 hours, wasn't it?
4 hours, I think. On the
yeah, but it was done in chapters, so you could kind of jump off, you know, after a certain.
Yeah, well, the original plan for the release of that was that it was going to be released. I know when it did get released, it was released as one film, but it was one of the original plans was to release it over 4 or 5 days in these chapters.
Mm.
That's you know, that was just a sort of passion project, really, wasn't it? In a sense, in that you know, and I don't think we would have got that had stuff like COVID not occurred and everything shut down.
Yeah.
And the film studio shut down, and you know, and they saw the opportunity to finish this film that was practically all there. Let's put some more money into it, and so even with that, I mean, 4 hours. Anyone who sits down and wants to make, you know, if I was a filmmaker, well, I wouldn't even say that, but if a filmmaker sits down and says, "I want to make a 4-hour film," then you know you'd say, "Well, that's a bit excessive, isn't it? Come on, live in the real world." It is excessive for a film, you know, 2 parts, yeah, but yeah, for that, I think, like I said, it was him coming back to finish off what he had the opportunity to finish what he had originally planned. But like I've always said with that one, had Zack Snyder not been kicked off of the project,
well, he left, didn't he? Rather than that, because his daughter died. So I stepped away.
I know. I think they wanted. They found a reason to, and they didn't exactly persuade him otherwise. Yeah.
Well, I mean, from what I know, there are a lot of stuff. So obviously, Zack Snyder's daughter committed suicide. If people don't know, his wife was an executive producer. They both stepped away. Joss Whedon was brought in, but that movie was released early because the bosses of Warner Brothers went, "If you release it by list date, we'll get a massive big bonus."
Yeah.
So Whedon had no chance, basically.
They're trying to jump on the success of Infinity War and Endgame because they saw that, you know, all these characters in the film and thought, yeah, Warner Brothers can do this. They didn't give it the time, did they, to develop the characters?
But what I was going to say
stories
is the Joss Whedon, the Zack Snyder's Justice League isn't the film that you would have got.
Yeah,
had he not stepped away.
Yeah, because you got all the feedback.
As he finished his film off, it wouldn't have been that. It would have been something in between the two.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that he had the opportunity to come back to it. He'd had a lot of time to reflect, a lot of time to probably change stuff up. I'd rather do it this way than that way. I'll add this, and we'll stretch it to this 4 hour. And yeah, I could sit down and watch that, and because I'm invested in it, I think it's a great film. I think it's great. But if anyone said to me, "Oh, there's this 4 hour," you know, Superman's coming into the cinema, it's 4 hours long, I'll probably be like, "Oh, I ain't doing that."
No, I don't know. I don't know what the run time of it's going to be.
No, I'm just using that as an example. Obviously, it's not.
Yeah, no, I'm just interested to see.
I'm just throwing that out there. That title.
What?
Not for any reason.
I imagine it'll be a few hours at least, with all the characters they've got in it to start after the new universe. It'll have to be at least 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, it says Wild Gun didn't reveal the exact run time. He did confirm Superman is well under 3 hours, under 2.5.
Well, that's fair enough. That's a decent length.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I say, I think it is. It's very much on the, you know, on the type of film that you're watching, and like you say, these epics. I mean, even Dances with Wolves. I can remember, you know, the standard edition of that. I think was over or nearly 3 hours. And then there's that German extended cut. And I think that comes in at, is it 3.5 hours, something like that?
I think actually about 3 hours and 45 minutes, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow. Yeah. But again, fantastic film, you know, can't knock it. You know, it's, but, you know, you can warrant the time and investment in that sort of film. Whereas some of these other ones, you do push in 2 hours and 2.5, and you're thinking, yeah, you could
I
cut
remember
this down.
seeing Dances Wolves at the cinema, and because you got to remember, that's like early 90s, so I was quite young, and I went with a girl from school who I was dating. Her name was Kathleen. She had red hair, right? I still remember, and we went and saw that. So I don't know why we saw that. I don't think there was anything else on. I loved it, and I got criticised because when I got back by her mates at school, I remember being criticised because I paid no attention to her during the entirety of the film.
Yeah.
And I was like, well yeah, because why would I'm watching the film? I'm watching the bloody film. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not, yeah.
And then the extended cut did get a VHS release.
Oh, did it? Oh, okay.
I remember picking it up in W.H. Smith's in Elephant and Castle, and it was in a big box, cardboard box, and you had the CD soundtrack along with the film. And I think that's when I first watched the extended cut.
Wow. On VHS?
I believe so, yeah. If I'm not, I may be mistaken, I may be remembering that wrong, but I think that's how I first saw the extended cut.
That must have been one of them tapes, because you used to have the E180, wasn't it? VHS. And
Yeah,
then there was the E240, I think it was.
Yeah.
That would be 4 hours. Tape on that must have been so thin.
Yeah, who knows? I can't remember. But yeah, I remember picking that up.
I remember the old E180. Used to buy the packs, didn't you? Like 5-pack of bloody Scotch.
Yeah. When you got them as a Christmas present, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Long play and double the length.
Yeah.
But even back then, with quality of stuff, because back then, I used to tape a lot of TV shows, Babylon 5, things like that, Lois and Clark, and I'd keep them on VHS tape.
Yeah.
Even back then, I remember I switched from using long play back to standard play because when you long played it, you had lesser quality of picture of what you're taping on the thing. But yeah, I remember that back then quality was a big issue. So if I'd used a 3-hour tape, obviously I'd only get 4 episodes of it may be on there. And I used to try and time it. I used to be sat there while it was on, watching Babylon 5, and I'd try to be as quick as I could at the advert section.
Yeah. My dad used to do that. Yeah.
Logo up and then pause. It's going black to adverts, pause. And then when it came back, unpause at the point where that shifts away to try and not have that. And up if I had that bloody title card. Between the
Yeah, my dad, he used to be an expert and he got really good at it. He used to tape so much stuff from my mum off the TV, and he was there all the time. But as he had pause it. Oh dear.
Sometimes you knew because you had that little. If it was like Channel 4 ITV, you had that little thing come up in the corner of your TV.
Little spinning thing.
Yeah, the little like black and white told you the adverts.
That's it. Yeah. And you're eagerly watching that. Yeah.
Advert.
Oh dear.
Do you remember them days, Chris? Probably.
Yes, I do. I remember the little icon in the top corner. Yes, I do remember that.
The good old days.
Yeah.
There we go.
Alan says, I don't own a 4K player. After your opinions, I don't think I'll bother. Yeah,
I'll just say that, I like Alan's little image there.
What is it?
That's Jaws.
Oh, Jaws. Yeah. Wow, yeah. Yeah, very good.
My favourite film.
We got Michael's Media Corner. Hi, Michael. Yeah, you've recently changed your name, haven't you?
He has. How are you, Mike? You all right?
He says, so then, AJ, do you think movies shouldn't do test screenings?
No, I don't. I don't know. Why should a small, there's so many films, or so many. There's several films that I would much rather see. That's the problem with a test screening is it takes away the art, doesn't it? You're making it to committee.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Well, yeah,
you're being dictated. So this is what I'm saying. Film was art. Film used to be considered art. You had a story to tell. We'll tell that story, right? Now with a test screening, it's dictated that the narrative flow of the film is changed, is altered. You get whole complete endings of films that are altered. I would love it if they announced that the Predator, the Shane Black Predator film, was going to get a release that was the director's vision.
Yeah.
With the actual third act, where you had the other Predators that were in Area 51, right? You had Thingy's role back in the film, Edward James Olmos, the actor, who was deleted. All his stuff was deleted from the film because it didn't sit well with audience. The film flopped anyway. Do you know what I mean? It did nothing for it going in front of a test audience. In fact, it was probably far worse. I want to see them Predators riding on top of the RV, the military vehicle that they've got, and in the fatigues. I've got a bloody thingy somewhere. I've got a NECA figure of a Predator in military fatigues, because it's the Predator from that ending that we never got to see.
And they created an action figure for it.
Yeah, they done two. There was two, because there was two Predators in the film. You've seen them. You've seen images of them online, and they're in military fatigues because they were working with Area 51. They were in Area 51 and kept there, and they were brought back to help the humans fight this stupid gigantic Predator. So I would like to see those endings. You've seen images of them atop the tank, atop the military vehicles, and things like this. Are you searching? Are you searching for it, Matt?
No, but you're talking about Predator, and I saw something which
the Shane Black one.
There's some news about the Predator, which I was just going to come on to, which I was just trying to find. I can't see it. What I read was apparently there was supposed to be a new Predator trilogy coming along or something.
Oh, no. I think what you've read is there was news that came out the other day about what the original plan was for Predators.
Okay.
With Adrian Brody.
Right.
So the original plan for it, but they couldn't do it budgetary wise, was that there was going to be a battle at the end of the film up in space, like a sort of shootout with spaceships and this sort of a thing. There was going to be, and this doesn't make much sense to me, to be honest. Predator ship was going to land with Adrian Brody there, and the ship was going to come out, and a load of Predators would have come out of this ship. And when they take their mask off, one of them is actually Arnie.
Okay.
Right, he's with the Predators.
Predators,
because the Predators, because he's one on Earth that time, they've taken him, and it doesn't narratively make much sense to me. That,
no.
Although it is something that was done in the very first Alien versus Predator book. There was a girl who helps the Predator, who defeats the aliens, and in further stories after that, she's become part of the Predator clan. And part of that went into Alien versus Predator, the first one, where the alien girl, where the girl helps the alien Predator, and she marks. I think he scores her, doesn't he, with the finger of the alien, and that comes from that comic book. So anyway, so they took elements of that, and they were originally going to do Arnie, and like I said, that doesn't really narratively work because we never saw that happen to Arnie it just feels kind of forced, so to speak. But then the second film would have been all set aboard a spacecraft they were going to do, and they've got to get off of this spacecraft where you've got the two packs of predators you've been hunted by. And then the third film would have actually ended up being set on the Predator homeworld. This is all stuff that's recently has apparently come out about that. Okay. There weren't a continuation of Predator, the Shane Black Predator. It would have been a continuation of the Adrian Brody Predators film. Yeah, it was one of what they planned, but they couldn't get Arnie. Arnie was apparently up for it, but then the whole governor of New York thing came. He couldn't do it. They didn't have the budget, wouldn't allow them to do the spacecraft stuff they wanted to do at the end of the film. So they that's when they sort of relied on a battle down below on the planet's surface. For that,
isn't there supposed to be an animated Predator series coming out this year?
No, you're right. You've got Predator Badlands, which is the film, but then there's another Predator project as well.
I thought it's an animation that's going
to that's the talk that it might be, but it's yet to be seen, really. It's kind of, as far as I know, it's sort of being kept more hush hush. That might not even be, I don't know.
No,
but you know, Disney has sat on an animated Alien versus Predator that's complete, that's never seen the light of day. It was all done. It was filmed. It was made, and in the Fox Disney buyout, it was made before that. Disney have shelved it, but it's completely done. Yeah, animated AVB. Just bloody release it.
Yeah, exactly. Why just stick something on a shelf? I mean, God.
I don't know if they're worried that it's going to damage the. I would be, if I was Disney. Okay, to be fair to Disney now, right? Now, as we're sat now, you've got sort of new life bred back into both the Alien and the Predator franchises. Okay, and I know there has been some talk. Oh yeah, we'd like to do another AVP film. I'd be very careful. Well, these two franchises have got life, or what looks like life. I'd be very careful doing that, because in one foul swoop you could
reverse it all.
Just put the kibosh on both franchises in one hit. So I don't know if now, as they're sat now, they're worried that if we release this Alien vs Predator animated thing, that it could put the stoppers on. It could erase any goodwill that we've created from these other two projects.
Yeah, I don't know. I always sort of see animation as a bit of a separate thing to film. It runs its own storyline.
It does, and also it doesn't draw as big an audience.
No,
I mean, look at the Into the Spider-Verse films. Although they're well received and they make a bit of money, the money they make is nowhere near as what the money that their live action counterparts would make.
Yeah,
not as many people are drawn into, seeing an animated movie.
No, and apparently, again, there's talk. Again, that same guy that I follow is a disappointing update for Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. I haven't watched the video, but I'm guessing there's no further sort of news on when that's going to be made. Seems to have been shelved again. I don't quite know why, because the second one did so well.
It's just they're slow coming, a delay on anything. I'm thinking they will do it because they've done well for them.
Yeah, well, it's the best thing to come out of Sony, really. I mean, all of
who is it? Who is it you follow? By the way? Who?
John Campion.
Oh, okay, all right.
So he you get all the sort of movie news. I know there's lots of these.
John Campion, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these different channels, aren't they? But his feed is, he's talking about there's a new Shang-Chi 2 coming out in 2026, apparently. Captain America tickets just gone on sale. DC Swamp Thing will be a standalone movie, says director. You know, it's all, all the movie news I kind of sort of know about comes from him, really.
Yeah.
So no other comments coming in. I know we've still got 7 people watching, so many thanks for watching today. Coming up to 2 hours.
I know, I feel quiet today. He's been pushed into the background of. I don't know. I get that impression today, Chris.
Me? No, I'm all right. I'm fine.
You've been quite quiet, but is it?
Yeah, no. Obviously you've mentioned themes and stuff I don't know about, so I'm always interested in taking stuff on, and then I can go away and look into it. It's you guys have 8 to 10 years extra knowledge on me on a lot of stuff, so and my knowledge is spread so far wide, so it's fine. I'm happy. I'm not.
You said we're like wise old men.
Ah, yes. Yeah, you're the Mr. Miyagi and I'm the Danielson.
Well, okay, so as we're coming up to the 2 hour mark, then let's just what's coming up on your channel, Chris, that people can look forward to.
Okay, so we have The Purge. I think episode 3 is out on Monday, and then obviously my watch, an upgrade video, and then I have the Making Space one on the Toy channel coming next week. So lots of changes, and these 2 main series have been kind of the kind of main factor going, but then hopefully come back to a calm and steady video release.
Still doing this sort of weekly movie reviews.
Yep, so I've got A Real Pain comes out today, Mufasa tomorrow, the Bob Dylan one that I see Sunday will come out next week, and then I'm away next week, and then I'll go to the new cinema and see something. So still steadily week ones and that, and yeah, still watching a lot. Watching a bit more online stuff, so I may start incorporating that like AJ is into his watches. Seeing stuff like Black Doves and that. It was quite good. Even though I couldn't get over the main bloke, he's the voice of Paddington, and that's who he sounds like. And if you just it's obviously, if you've ever seen it, Keira Knightley and the guy who plays Paddington are like assassins, but when you hear his voice, he just sounds like Paddington Bear. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Well, he's the guy who played Q in Daniel Craig films.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good actor. It's a very different role, just hit his natural voice. That's obviously more what I know him from Paddington. But Black Doves was quite an enjoyable watch. Only 6 episodes from Netflix. So
cool.
Yeah, that's all from my channels.
That's all right. Leave links in the description. I think I would need to put them in, but
I just want to say that I didn't realise, sorry, but Alan, who was messaging, who's got the little Jaws image, he just messaged me, and I won't say his surname, but it's an Alan that, well, we've messaged back and forth a few times in the past. I don't know if you remember ages ago, I was sent I had someone send me the DVD copy of Captain America, the 1994 Matt Salles movie. And also someone had sent me, I think, a couple of Star Wars Annual and the Return of the Jedi movie adaptation comic book from ages ago. And it's that Alan, it's that same Alan that talking then. He just messaged me saying that. So yeah, sorry, Alan. I didn't realise I didn't realise.
Did he have his own channel? Or?
No. He just
a commentator
sort of thing.
Watcher and commentator.
Yeah, and
cool.
we got messages, and I have in the past. When I was getting rid of stuff, I did offer him some of like the DVDs I was getting rid of and things like that. I just didn't make the connection that it was the same Alan.
No.
I just wanted to say so thanks, Al.
Cool. So there's a video coming up. You said about the 4Ks tonight on your channel.
I've got a 4K video, about talking about whether you know, where I am at collecting this sort of thing, I sort of reflected on whether whether it was a mistake for me to start having dipped into the 4K side of things, because you know, when I was Blu-ray, before I went 4K, for a long time I said I'm done with upgrading. I'm not going to upgrade anymore, because I've gone from VHS. I've upgraded from VHS. Yeah, I dabbled in the Laserdisc side of things for a little while, not long. So it wasn't really upgrading. It was like, you know, Con Air I used to have, Alien 4 I used to have on Laserdisc, things like that. But I didn't have, so I wouldn't have had them on VHS. So, and then obviously DVD came along and I upgraded everything DVD. Blu-ray came along, I upgraded everything to Blu-ray. So it's like I'm sort of saying, so I can sit around this room, I can look around this room and I can say to myself, wow, how much money is there in this room? How much money have I spent on all this stuff in this room? And then, but then it goes further than that, because then I've got a question, you know, how much money did I spend on the DVDs prior to this? How much money did I spend on the VHSs prior to this? It's that as well. That it's that hidden cost, that when I say hidden cost, it's not visually there in front of you. So while I can walk into this room and I can say, wow, look at all this money that's been spent, you know, had I waited, I'd have picked this. Had I waited for a lot of this stuff and picked it up and second-hand market, I could probably have saved myself over 50% of the cost. See what I'm saying? So I question whether, and I always said at Blu-ray point, I said, I'm not going to upgrade to 4K. I'm not going to go 4K. Enough's enough kind of a thing. But then eventually I did. So that video tonight is kind of like a sort of reflection on whether I made the right choice or not. Yeah. As for anything else that I've got upcoming,
well, you'll have your monthly pickups, won't you?
That'll be you know, end of the month, early January. I have got an opening in the week, one opening video next week, but that again is from November. Something that I filmed in November, where I went into December and I thought, I'm going to have a break. I need to stop all these videos coming out. And I took videos down that were up to due that week and stuff like that. And then a couple I have deleted. Like I said to you, I'd done an opening for the Joker Steelbook, you know, the one that we got. And I deleted that. Just got rid of, no point doing it. And even this video, I'm, you know, like the video that just went last week or this week, the one about the Beauty and the Beast boxing. It's, you know, it was done around the same time as that. And it's like, you know, so it's just there to get rid of, so to speak. But I am working on a video about, you know, because there's, you know, you got a lot of people, you got a lot of deniers out there that don't think that physical media is dying, right? And you know, I've seen people say, "Oh, where's the proof? Where's the proof?" I'll go into that. I'll give you the proof right in the video. I don't need proof when I've got eyes, but I will give you the proof, right? That eyes tell me that it's dying. You know, shops not selling, shops not wanting it. Do you know what I'm saying? Countries stepping away from releasing physical media. I mean, you don't need proof when you got that stuff going on. So I'm working on a video for that, and I got another idea for a video that just sort of came to me this morning. It's much akin to, no, it's basically about, again, it's about, I'm going to do a video on all the stuff that I've pre-ordered and cancelled, been tempted by pre-ordering but haven't, and the reasons why. You know, because we're buying for the sake of buying.
I think, yeah, you can certainly get caught up in that, and this is why I think it's time to start watching what you've got in the collection and focus on that rather than, oh, what can I get? You know, what more can I get? Because, you know, it's all very well collecting these things, but if you're not going to watch them, what's the point? You know.
No, that's right. Absolutely, and that's the realization I'm coming to. You know, because I'm looking at shelves, and like I said, I'm going to do a video looking at it, and I'm going to pull a shelf, and I'm going to actually be honest and say, well, yeah, when did I last watch this film?
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I can guarantee with a lot of them that I'd be saying, like Congo. I've had Congo for a while in the Blu-ray collection, several years. My first watch was this week just gone. My last.
And that was probably only down to the fact that we were discussing it.
Yeah.
And it kind of gave me that inspiration to watch it. Yeah.
But then I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. Like I said, you know, just a quick one. I said to my missus the other day, I said to her, let's watch a film. Right. I can't remember what we landed on. All right. But I said to her a couple of weeks ago, so let's watch a film. Don't know what. I said, pick a year. Pick a year. She went 2020. I went, oh. You're talking about like COVID times now.
Yeah. Not great.
Pick a bloody other, and I was hoping she'd pick a year that was 10, 15, 20 years
1993, isn't it?
yeah, right. Because 1993, 1994, I'd be like, oh, okay, great. Let's have a look what was out in that year and let's pick a film. She goes to me 2020, and I'm thinking to myself, COVID aside, you're picking a damn year that I know is going to be the top films are going to be superhero films anyway. And the Marvel films aren't aging very well for me. Right, I'll be honest. Some of them Marvel films aren't aging very well.
No.
And I'm thinking, give me a year where there was, you know, where cinema was alive, where filmmaking was alive, rather than feeling like it was this dead era of filmmaking, which is what we're in now. That's what it feels like.
I do hope that, you know, I mean, obviously we've had a few years of the writers' strikes and all the rest of it, and I think maybe we're coming towards the end of the film, because, you know, you've got to remember that some of these films are made 2, maybe 3, 4 years ago, and they're just getting released because of production schedules and all the rest of it. So I do have hope that in the next 4 to 5 years, that with writers coming back on board, maybe we might start seeing some better stories coming along. I don't know. I'm just trying to be optimistic.
It ain't gonna happen because writing's changed. There's too many restrictions on writing. It's just not there anymore. No. And the films that probably are well written, these small character films, just aren't being given the time of day to get released, to get made, because it's all about visual fanfare. You know, I don't think, you know, I think we've seen decline in writing over the years. You know, yeah, there's the odd film that comes out and you think, oh, that's really well written, that's really great. But, you know, the majority of it isn't. It's just disposable nonsense to garner a quick buck, and then it's long forgotten.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you look like Forrest Gump and the writing that goes into that, you know, just to say, because I know we're going over. Are you in a rush, Chris?
No.
Yeah, you know, I was watching Forrest Gump, right, and he sat there. He's on, you know, as you know, he's on the bench the whole way through, telling the story to different people who sit there with him. He's got a box of chocolates in hand, right? And I'm watching intently because it's a great film. And then you one of the stories flashes back to him going to visit Jenny, right? Now, at the beginning of the film, we don't know why he's there on the bench. We got no idea why he's there waiting on the bench for this bus to go somewhere. Obviously, he's there because he's got a letter from Jenny. We find out at the end, then he goes running down to a place, right? He sat there with a box of chocolates. Now, earlier in the film, he goes to Jenny at one point and he brings her a box of chocolates. Very subtle. Very subtle. He's got it in hand. It's the same box as what he sat there with the same bow on it. Right, so the film's telling you, you know, in that moment, right now, you know. Do you know what I mean? Subtly, that's where he's going. He's going to see her again because he's got the same, not the same box of chocolates, but it's the same type of box of chocolates in with the same bow. Do you know what I mean? And that's just like, subtle, clever writing right there.
Yeah.
No, and
That's
what films lack.
Into it.
That's what these films lack now.
Yeah.
You know, that subtlety, that clever little. Oh yeah, look, you know where he's going because he's got. I said to my missus, I goes, look, it's the same. It's the same box, same kind of bow on top. So you're told, you know, this is where he's going. He's going to see her again.
Without having to, like you say, some of this stuff now, it's almost like people have to be force-fed stuff. You know, they can't use their own mind. They have to be told, you know, every little detail.
Yeah. And just another scene, obviously, you know, he becomes this ping pong champion, doesn't he? Like he starts playing ping pong, right? Yeah. And when he first starts playing ping pong, the reason he's so good is because the geezer says to him, don't take your eye off the ball, right? And he from the get-go, he's there, and his eye is always on the ball when he's playing ping pong.
Yeah.
Right? Always. It's watching the ball, right? Until the end of the film. He's playing ping pong with the little Haley Joel Osment, and he misses the ball, and the ball goes elsewhere. You watch subtly, he's not watching the ball, he's watching the boy. Do you know what I mean? And that's why the ball just goes anywhere, because he's watching his son.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's that. There's these little subtle nuances in the writing that just make these films of art so special, and that's lack today. A lot of that is lack. I mean, hats off to
probably
Marvel.
Director intent as well, I guess.
I'll take my hats off to Marvel and everything up to Endgame, because those films were well written and they had these little subtle character nuances in them throughout. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, the death of Tony Stark, where she says you can rest now. Because in Iron Man films, he says he ain't got time to rest and all this sort of thing. He ain't got. Do you know what I mean? There's all these very subtle little things throughout the Marvel films that just make them work, you know. And so they're actually well written. But majority of films now, later Marvel films, no, not they're crap in comparison. By comparison, they ain't got that stuff. But do you know what I mean? It's yeah. But anyway, sorry.
No, that's all right. It's all right.
I was going to say, you watch these older films, and that's what you get out of them. You realise this stuff. You realise these great little things that you don't notice. These little elements that are thrown in. You know, that's just so great. You know, your eyes on the ball the whole time, except for when you got your son. You're looking at your son, and you miss the ball, or you fire the ball off elsewhere because you're not looking at the ball.
Yeah.
You know, and that, I said, going back to me getting upset, that's, you know, again, Forrest Gump, the bit where he realizes that that's his son, and he takes a step back, and he's like choked up with emotion because it's that first moment he really acknowledges, he realizes that there's a problem with him in his, you know, stupidity, in that he's not a clever person. I know there's bits before where he says, you know, I may not be a smart man, Jenny, but I know what love is. But that moment where it fears him that young Forrest has got what's wrong with him is the moment where he shows that he understands that he himself is, and it's so emotional, you know. It's great stuff, and you don't get that. No,
very rare these days.
It is, yeah. How passionate, yeah. That's really, I don't know. That was great. That was a great rewatch, Forrest Gump, I gotta say. Really.
It's a great film.
But there we
go. Just for me next week, be another Bond review coming. Going to be doing these every so often. You like my Bond films, so expect another Bond review. And I'm going to start, I think, doing some reviews of 3D films, because within the community there is a very small community of 3D people who like 3D films. What's that?
3D enthusiasts.
Yes, yeah, and I feel I need to contribute to that little tiny bit. I'm not expecting there to get many views, but yeah, I think I've got a sizable 3D collection, and so I may start doing some of those reviews. I haven't done anything yet.
That's not a bad idea because it's not something that anyone else does.
No, that's right. And
so it could be a small corner of the collecting community that you're the only soul.
Certainly I know there is another guy in the UK that he's done them in the past. There's a couple of guys in America that do it. But yeah, I thought, well, why not give that a go? Not saying they're going to be every week. It'll be a bit like my Bond reviews, just every now and again. As I say, you're not going to be seeing sort of, lots of videos from me either this year, because I'm cutting down on the spending side of things and just focusing more on the collection and, rewatching a lot of this stuff now and, watching stuff that I haven't seen in 4K that I've picked up but just been sat on the shelf. So, and I'll just read out this comment we've got from somebody here. He's asking me if he can read this out, so no problem at all. It's Rehan Nizaz. Apologies if I got that wrong. He says he is so happy today because it's his birthday on the 30th of January. So happy birthday to you for the 30th.
Yes, happy birthday for the 30th, Rehan.
Happy birthday.
What day does that fall on now? It's Friday.
Is it a Friday or a Saturday or something?
Yeah,
it might be a Thursday.
I should know.
Friday is the 1st of Feb, isn't it?
Oh, is it? So, I should know because it's actually the same date as my wife's birthday. That is.
Oh, okay. Oh, happy birthday to her as well for the 30th.
She's already had her present, so.
Oh, the Back to the Future musical.
No, that was just us from Christmas. No.
Okay.
She does her own nails. She taught herself as a nail technician, so she can do.
Oh, cool.
Although it's not her job, obviously. I'll speak to the devil when she's ringing me. I'll ring her back in wait a minute.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say I'm going to kind of end it there because we've gone over time. So many thanks to everyone who's been watching. Please go and subscribe to Chris's channel. He's got 2 channels, Green Time and Toys. I will leave the links in the description. And obviously, AJ, I'm sure you subscribe to both of these guys anyway. But if you're new here, please go and check out their channels. And I don't know, are we going to be doing one next week? Maybe on your channel if you're available. I don't know what's happening.
I don't think I'm doing anything next week. I'm available.
Yeah, okay. I'll have to check, make sure I'm available. But maybe next time over on your side.
Yeah, let us know.
On Chris, the dark side.
I know you're a busy person.
I'm away at Pooh Corner next weekend. So
Where?
So Hartfield, which is just east of Crawley. There's a cafe called Pooh Corner. So Winnie the Pooh themed, and then that's where A.A. Mills wrote Winnie the Pooh, and you could go around the forest and stuff.
Oh, that's down in Kent.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I've been to the forest. I've been to the what's it called?
Well, the cafe is called Pooh Corner. I can't remember what the actual place is, but yeah, Hartfield is the area. Really.
Yeah, no, I've been to the I know the forest. Yeah, I've been there. Yeah. But no, it's good. All right, cool.
Yeah, so I won't be around, unfortunately.
Oh, fair enough. I enjoy that. That's
two grumpy old men talking instead.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thanks ever so much, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you later.
Cheers.